one more shakeup I want us to unpack together is the possibility of Texas A&M having the number one wide receiver they've been looking for in NC State transfer, Kevin Concepcion. Not Conception, not Concepcion, Concepcion, all right? That's a little accent we're working on there with saying his last name. But we'll unpack that right now. Before we do, one, make sure you're subscribed. College Football Sickos, Texas A&M fans, if you want more content around the Aggies, let us know by subscribing. This show, The Hard Count, brought to you by our friends over at Rowback. Y'all that watch the show, you know I love Rowback. If you're watching my stories on Instagram on the weekend or whenever I'm off the air here, usually rocking either a Rowback hoodie or a Rowback tee. Best fit, best feel. They're completely changing the game when it comes to comfortable active wear. They got everyday shorts. They got some performance pants. I've told you I co-sign their hoodies as much as any hoodie in the game, so make sure you check them out. Rowback.com. Use code JD for a generous 20% off for all new customers through the end of this week. That's just JD, no periods, those two letters, spelled RHOBACK.com. 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with code JD. I'll say this, Father's Day, right around the corner, might not be the worst idea to get dad some Rowback. I'll just say that. So as I was saying, if Texas A&M has a dog in KC Concepcion as their number one wide receiver, it'd be impactful because the vibes would be great in College Station. You got a dude who can hurt you downfield and be cool highlights, and maybe Scott Van Pelt is talking about the best thing I saw this week, and it's Kevin Concepcion making some plays downfield and lighting up the scoreboard. But I think it's impactful if you're an A&M fan because of what you would pair that with, right? Last year, Noah Thomas was your leading receiver for your football team. Now he's gone to Georgia. I don't think anyone in College Station has a bad thing to say about Noah Thomas, but if he's your true wide receiver one, there is a very obvious limit to what your offense can be, and there was a very obvious limit to what A&M's offense was last year with him as your wide receiver one. Like, your leading receiver should not be tied for 28th in the conference in catches. Just goes to say. And so the trouble with A&M, or the excitement with Kevin Concepcion for me, is you could pair him with a run game that will be both nasty and dynamic. Le'Veon Moss, maybe it's because he got hurt last year, I think he's one of the best running backs in college football. He was averaging 6 yards a carry when he got hurt. If he stays in the game against South Carolina, I think that the ending to that game is a lot more exciting. Also with Marcel Reed, with him actually being your dude now going into the season, I promise you they will have a lot more quarterback run already tailored into the game plan week in and week out. That's tough for a defense now. Like second and third level, you got to trigger a lot more quickly when you got to worry about 10 tucking and running. Got to worry about Le'Veon Moss. Also, Reuben Owens, should he be healthy? He's a guy that excites you in that backfield. There's a lot of names for A&M in the backfield when it comes to running the football. Mike Elko's character, Colin Klein, the OC, his character is to be physical and punch you in the face and run the ball downhill. But when you can do that and then defenses overcommit and you got a dude that can actually make plays for you in the passing game, someone that's a circle on the scouting report kind of dude, that's hard to defend. That's very hard to defend. And it's the Kevin Concepcion part of it, plus the what he does for other players on your roster part of it in the wide receiver room. Like Terry Bussey's someone you're super fired up about if you're a Texas A&M fan. You've been hearing good things about him, how explosive he is, the athleticism. If you're worried about KC Concepcion as a defense, you give him extra attention. Guess who has less attention on them by resources? Terry Bussey. He makes more plays. So when that happens, A&M, what happens? They score more points. You score more points, you put the ball, I should say this, you put the game more on a Mike Elko defense, you should be feeling pretty good about yourselves, right? And at that point, A&M is thinking about the college football playoff, and we're having a discussion a couple of months from now saying, we told you it wasn't the logo. We told you it wasn't the Kyle Field of it all or the history. It had nothing to do with that. It was always the players in the uniforms, the coaches on the sideline. Here's why I arrive at with A&M. Going into the 2023 season, I felt a lot like LSU was very close to scoring a lot of points offensively. The question was, can Jaden Daniels just cut it loose? Because if he can cut it loose downfield, the run game's great. The Jaden Daniels with the ball in his hands, he's electric. And then what happens is Jaden Daniels does cut it loose. Now they had two first round wide receivers to get that done, so let that be known. But at that point, LSU became unstoppable offensively. I'm not saying that A&M has the same kind of output as a 2023 LSU, But I get the same kind of feeling around this year's A&M offense that I did that LSU offense. Now, there was no way to know that Jaden Daniels was going to be Jaden Daniels. But Marcel Reed, I don't question what he is as a passer pushing it downfield. I question, does he have someone on the perimeter to go get it for him downfield? And that's a reason why you went out and got KC Concepcion. That's a reason why KC Concepcion, per on three, is dealing with right around $2.5 million in NIL deals. All right? So if you can do that downfield, the run game will, I think, just explode. The defense will be phenomenal, and A&M will be in a spot where they're competing for a college football playoff. So if that's the case now, it impacts the house, that is A&M, but it impacts the neighborhood. Because A&M, you look at what they have ahead of them, I think they have 3 teams on their schedule that are going to be like college football playoff tier. What if A&M ends up popping a little bit more than we thought and they catch someone sleeping? What if they play Texas, the last game of the year, and what if Texas has 2 losses? What if that's a play-in game for Texas? I'm not predicting, I'm just saying that's a possibility, and that in itself would be an electric factory when that game's played in Austin. So my expectation level around this, if this were weather, I'd dress for it. If this were a weather on the forecast, I'd say, yeah, I think this probably happens, where A&M is dynamic downfield, great in the run game, defense is awesome. It's a big reason why I'm very, very bullish on A&M in 2025. We'll give you our official college football playoff predictions here before August. Okay, so probably post SEC Media Days. I think we'll get to that, but I feel very good about A&M. I'm having a hard time telling myself they won't be in that field of 12. Not a promise, so don't hold me to that, but that's just I'm as high on A&M as I think anybody else in the world of college football as it stands right now.